Welcome in, you fellow troglodytes! It has been a while since I used that intro, so I wanted to use that again. Today, I am going to show you the most objectively correct, fun to go against killer tier list. Some things may seem based, even though they're not as based as you think. I personally think that this is the most objective and the most fair killer tier list I've ever done. It's also the first that I've ever done, so I hope you'll enjoy this kind of content. And let's head into the killer tier list. So, to start off with, we have Trapper. Trapper, for me, personally, is depending on who plays them. You can have like these really fun trappers, you know, where they kind of whiff everything and you can put them around with their traps and resetting their traps, holding their traps. So some trappers are really fun to verse, while at the other hand, if you have like a basement trapper or something, it could be really boring. So Trapper for me goes on depending who plays them. Rave, I am gonna put in the fun bracket, because I think that most Raves are genuinely fun to go against. Also because I play a lot with a Beamer, so I kind of have an advantage over most Raves, because I can put them out of their power. Raves are also not always that easy to go against. If you think about like the super fast fold Bam Bam Raves, or what is it called, the Windstorm add-on Raves, it's pretty strong. But still, I do think that a Rave is kind of fun to go against. Of course, this is an easy one. Billy, every hour of the day of the week. I think both playing Billy and going against Billy is one of the most fun killers and most interactive killers to go against. I am not being base right now, absolutely not. I genuinely do think that Billy is just fun to go against. Most certainly a Flick Billy. Flick Billy is really fun to go against. If you go against someone that is a technical Billy and that goes for more of a comp playstyle and zones you and stuff, it could be hard, but I still genuinely do think that he's the most fair killer to go against in the game currently. So for me, he's an absolute number one. Then we have Nurse. And I already know that some of you are gonna maul at me for putting them into very fun. But if I'm really honest, I genuinely do enjoy going against a Nurse. I know that in stream, we've had many laughter with it. But I think that going against a Nurse is both one of the hardest killers to go against, but also is one of the killers that you can juke in various ways that you can't with other killers. If you think about the double backing, running back into her when she's blinking, all those kind of things are things that you can't do with the regular mobility killers. If you look, for example, at Nurse, where she's blinking, and you run back into it or you moonwalk back into her, there's not a single other killer where you can actually moonwalk back into her. You know what I mean? The only one that you could, quote-unquote, maybe do is Spirit. But that's about it. So, I do genuinely think that going against Nurse allows you to do many different kind of mind games. Even 50-50s on balance sometimes, which is, in my humble opinion, pretty cool, and I genuinely do enjoy going against Nurse. Michael Myers. I'm very sorry, gamers, but I think Michael Myers is kind of boring to go against. Most Michaels that I go against either have the Tombstone piece, Tombstone add-on, and it's all kind of the same gameplay. 2 gens pop, he gets his power. If it's not a Tombstone piece, he goes for a down, and yada yada. I think most Michael players play the same way, and I don't think it allows for a lot of diversity in his playstyle, which to me is boring. Hag, depending on who plays them. If you play Chase Hag, you're an absolute top tier legend, and I fucking love you, and I would genuinely go against you any day of the week. I love going against funny Hags. If you play Body Block Hag, or if you play like actual regular Hag, where you have 4 to 5 traps around the hook, then I think you're boring. So that's why it's a 50-50 for me. Chase Hag, super fun. Some builds on the Hag, especially like Rusty Shackles and everything, are super busted, super stupid, super unfun to go against. When I say busted, I don't necessarily mean strong, but just busted. I am putting Doctor in the fun tier list for a very simple reason. I think that most Doctors are fun to go against, as long as they don't have like busted add-ons where they have the instant shock delay, shock detonation, because then it's hard to go against. But with most of the add-ons, I feel like Doctor is pretty alright, except when you have like the 2 eerie add-ons combined and everything, and you constantly go into tier 3. That is a little bit scuffed, but at the other hand, I think most Doctors I've gone against are juiceable or fun to go, or, you know, I don't think Doctor is that boring to go against. Huntress, in very fun. I think decent Huntress players are hard to win against. At the other hand, I do think that when you play against a Huntress that kind of knows what she's doing, you can do some mind games that are really fun to pull off. She's technically one of the stronger killers and also one of the harder killers to master, but I think that the chase interaction with a Huntress is always fun. Especially if you have a Huntress that goes for snipes, I genuinely do like going against that. So Huntress, I'm gonna put into very fun. Booba Sawyer, putting this man into fun. I am also going to put him in front of Doctor and Wraith. I think that most Boobas you go against are really fun. They always play in the same way. They mostly have Bamboozle, so you already know what to do when you're going to be vaulting a window or when you're running Shack, for example. So somewhat of the counterplay with Booba is already invested into your mind because you know they mostly run Bamboozle, so you kind of know what they're going to do. The basement Booba meme is something that I've always found funny. I've also done it a few times on stream, which you guys know. But I do think that Booba deserves a spot to be in fun, because yet again, he's a funny killer to go against, and there are some jokes that you can pull off against a Booba. So he deserves to be in fun. Freddy, please delete this killer. Genuinely the most boring killer to go against. Man is 9 out of 10, running 4 gen regressions. Instantly goes to your gen. A boring killer to go against. Really don't think that this killer is still as fun. Pig. Now this is a rough one to explain, but Pig, if you play, for example, a flick Pig, which is kind of funny in my opinion, then you're Gucci. The moment you do the typical head pops and crouching so that you can't get your mask off, then yeah, you should not play this game. I genuinely do think that 70% out of the Pig players play the boring way, but it has the potential, or at least Pig has the potential, to be really fun. If you play her in a fun way, that is. Clown. I'm putting Clown into boring, because to me, he's a ginormous anti-loop killer. If you think about the bottles, especially the bottle spam, I genuinely think that Clown is boring to go against. Most Clown killers play the most boring add-ons, exhaustion add-ons, add-on that you cannot see anything, add-on that spreads the bloom or whatever it is. I genuinely think Clown does not deserve to be in any of the fun brackets. Even depending on who plays him, the only Clown that is literally fun to go against is Piss Bottle Clown, but that's about it. Spee. If you're Skill Manta, that is boring. Busted add-ons, stupid gameplay, Strider, Sennheiser 3000, nah, boring as fuck. Genuinely, stop playing the game. You're wasting people's time. If you go against a Spirit that doesn't know as much what she's doing, not per se really doesn't know what she's doing, but she's not running busted add-ons, nor Strider, nor has a Sennheiser 3000, which costs more than my car, then I would genuinely think that Spirit is fun. I've gone against Spirits where you have the fun mind games of should I drop the pallet, should I vault the pallet, should I vault the window, should I not? The 50-50 kind of gameplay, it could be really fun. So that's why I'm saying depending on who plays them, they're not fun, nor are they boring. Just depending on the add-ons whether they are actually fun to go against or not. Stab, go next, stab, go next, stab, go next. Mostly runs Thanatophobia, not my type of killer. Vommy Mommy, in my humble opinion, not really that cool to interact with. The only fun thing you can do is try to not get vomited on, try to deflect her puke, but in all honesty, I don't see her being fun in any way. Even though she's mechanically one of the hardest killers, I genuinely don't think she's that fun to go against. Especially if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, they take corrupt intervention, they puke on all the other gens, they get information like that. I don't feel like her power is that much fun, even though she's one of the hardest to master. Ghostface, I think, is fun to go against, especially because you have to work around his power. I genuinely do think that he could be funny. He causes quite some jump scares for me personally, because I never pay attention to the game, because I'm always watching Utrox in chat. But I do think that a Ghostface is not unfun to go against. The only thing that bothers me is the fact that BHVR, after all these years, still cannot manage to properly get him out of his power when you literally have him in the middle of your screen. I do think most Ghostfaces get juiced, so I am gonna put him in fun. For Demogorgon, I am going to put them in front of Wraith, not in front of Booba. A good Demogorgon is really fun to go against, but he's also pretty powerful if he knows what he's doing. So I do think that, for example, if you have Monster Kill, if you go against him, then you're gonna have a rough time. But I do think that Demo has a fun way of interacting. The fact that they can also, quote-unquote, abuse hook takes, slide takes, those kind of things. I genuinely think that he's mechanically a fun killer, so I do think that Demogorgon deserves to be in fun. Oni, I am putting into the very fun bracket. Oni is somewhat like Billy. Fast reversal, cool 180 flicks you can do. I think that a Oni is really fun to go against, especially if you start off really well and don't grant him a first hit really early into the game. I think winning against an Oni is not as hard. It's the moment you get a pretty fast hit as Oni that you're gonna lose the game. quite instantly. Especially because he's a technical killer, and you really need to think on how you rush with Oni, and there is a lot of counterplay to it. Except when you go against somebody that properly knows how to do 180s, I genuinely do think that Oni deserves to be in a very fun bracket. Bald Slinger. I'm going to put him in front of Michael Myers, if that works. Yeah, that works. This somewhat depends on who plays them as well, but I do think that a Bald Slinger is kind of boring to go against. They already fixed his whole zoning by pressing M2 constantly. They fixed it with somewhat of a cooldown. But I do feel like the constant zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out. It literally makes me like... Conehead. I've put him in the middle here, because this also depends on who plays them. If you have that typical Conehead player that constantly holds his M2, trying to zone you away from something, even though it's well played by them, don't get me wrong, I do feel like that is somewhat of a boring playstyle to do. Whilst at the other hand, if you have a flick Conehead, then I genuinely think that is fun to go against. If you have somebody that goes for cool flicks, does some mind gaming with it, I genuinely think he's a fun killer to go against. But it depends on who plays them. Blight! Every hour of the day of the week, I genuinely think that Blight is one of the most fun killers to go against. Especially because of the high skill cap that Blight has, when you genuinely want to learn him in a proper way. I am not talking about Alchemist Ring Blight, but a regular Blight, I genuinely do enjoy going against them. I personally love to play Blight as well, so this could be a little bit biased, but at the other hand, I do enjoy a good Blight. Especially if you can mind game the M2 flicks, then I think we can do something with Blight, so... I enjoy going against him. He's going to be in every hour of the day of the week. Twins! Depending on who plays them. There are certain content creators that are genuinely insane with twins and that seem to be really fun to go against. Mostly if you have somebody that goes for Victor flicks, then I really do enjoy playing against such people. If you have the old school twin mains that just camp it out, camp your body with Victor and stuff, then I genuinely would like to go next. Now, at the other hand, I haven't seen the twins in months. So, maybe they changed it a bit, maybe they're more fun right now, but I can't seem to find fun playing against them right now. I think this needs no introduction. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I genuinely think Trickster is one of the most oppressive killers, has no, but literally not a single way of controlling the map at any point, but once you get into chase, he's super oppressive. Put on some busted add-ons like the Ricochet add-on and stuff, and it's GG. I personally think that Trickster, even though he's not strong, is genuinely one of the most insanely boring killers to go against. This does not let away that I'm saying that technically you need quite some skill on this guy to properly know what you're doing. Yet again, absolutely amazingly boring to go against, in my humble opinion. Carried by bots. Conehead, if they have the busted add-ons, the genuinely boring. If you go against somebody that knows what they're doing and they're not using busted add-ons, then I think he could be fun. His power is sometimes fun to go against, especially if you can juke out the chains. But at one point when chain hunts start and when you have busted add-ons on chain hunt and everything, then I think this killer could be one of the most boring killers to go against. But yet again, I am giving it the benefit of the doubt, where if somebody plays him without busted add-ons, I think he could be really fun to go against. Anti-loop, press W gameplay against her, not really that fun. Nothing more to say about it. I haven't seen her in a while now, but the anti-loop on her is just too strong and boring. Scares the living freaking hell out of me. I never see her, she's too small for loops. I think she's boring because of the fact that I always get fucking jump scared, especially when she teleports and stuff. I have never went against a fun Sadako so far. So for me, she's boring. Yet again, could be if I ever meet a really fun Sadako that it changes. But for now, Sadako for me is a boring killer to go against. This geezer I'm going to put around here. I think he has an interesting power. I think if you go against the right person, that it could be strong. At the other hand, I don't feel like he has an interesting power to work around or to loop around. So for me, we're gonna put the dredge around here. Now, although I do think that Spirit has more fun interactive ways to go against, so we're gonna put it like this. Whisker, I'm going to put him into very fun. Kind of based because I also like to play him, but I do think that working around his Ouroboros power, or whatever you call that, I do think that it is really fun to go against. I think you can kind of juke him a little bit on it. You can make them vault windows whilst they shouldn't be vaulting windows, so I do think that Whisker is fun to go against. So he's gonna be put right behind OD. Everyone plays the same, fucking boring, please delete this killer. The last one is actually a special one because this killer is new and I haven't played against her yet. So this one I'm gonna base off of all the videos that I've seen, and I kind of think that I need to put her around here, being boring, because what I have read and seen, it feels like she's gonna be another 3-gen killer. That's at least what I have seen. Yet again, I haven't played against her yet. So for now, I'm putting her into boring, because I have no clue yet what to expect from her. Could change, but for now, around there, yet again, by everything that I've seen on YouTube, Twitter, everywhere, this is where I put her for now. Here I am again. Hope you all enjoyed this kind of tier list. I could be making another one, depending on how good the video does and how much you guys like this kind of content. But I think I will do another tier list, maybe on perks for Billy. Let me know in the comments what you guys think I should be doing. And in the meantime, go watch the previous video I uploaded. And then we'll see each other on the next one. Good night, gamers.